Hey guys, thank you for watching the SlatRock channel. If you're new here, don't forget to subscribe and hit that bell icon to get notified every time we post a new video. And if you've already done so, just make sure that it's still active. Here's your news for July 31st, 2019. This week's edition of SmackDown Live is in the history books, and it was certainly a unique episode to say the least. In recent months, the WWE has gone through a lot of changes backstage, and according to reports, Vince McMahon showed up just hours before the show and ordered that a number of segments were to be rewritten. Obviously, this led to a high-pressure situation backstage, as superstars and writers weren't exactly sure what they needed to do mere hours before the Blue brand went live. One match that overwent a massive change featured Kofi Kingston, as the reigning WWE Champion was supposed to team with his New Day partners and SmackDown Tag Team Champions Big E and Xavier Woods to face off against Raw's Tag Team Champions Luke Gallows and Carl Anderson with United States Champion AJ Styles. A huge match full of gold, this bout was scrapped shortly before the show, with the change being announced via a tweet, and the match was instead a one-on-one contest between Kingston and the Phenomenal One. While the match was still highly entertaining, fans can't help but wonder why the change was made in the first place, though it doesn't seem like we'll be getting answers anytime soon. Continuing on SmackDown now, and the rumored SummerSlam match between Charlotte Flair and Trish Stratus has been made official. Appearing on a special edition of The King's Court, Stratus barely got a chance to speak until she and Jerry Lawler were interrupted by Flair, who was irate that she had so far been left off the card for the biggest party of the summer. Flair certainly wasn't playing around last night, as she immediately tried to provoke the Hall of Famer into a match at SummerSlam, though Trish was able to keep her cool. That was until the record-breaking 9-time women's champion brought up the Canadian's kids, as insulting her family was more than enough to get Stratus to agree to the match. Though she retired in her hometown at Unforgiven 2006, Stratus remains to be in phenomenal shape, thanks in part to her own brand of yoga that she launched in 2008. Last year, the Canadian legend shows that she still got her wrestling skills when she competed on 3 separate occasions, and though it was Flair who broke Stratus's record for the most women's title wins in March of this year, expect the Queen to be in for the fight of her life in just a matter of days in Trish's hometown of Toronto at SummerSlam. While Stratus and Flair had plenty of time to make their match official, one superstar who was certainly in a rush this week on SmackDown was Roman Reigns. Saved for the end of the show, Reigns appeared in the final 60 seconds of the event, as it seems someone backstage got their timing wrong. This led to a very awkward final minute for the show, as shortly after the match between Kofi Kingston and AJ Styles wrapped up, the cameras quickly went backstage for the Big Dog segment. As he walked backstage, several objects and scaffolding fell on the former world champion, and though Reigns may have looked cool by walking the attack off, this probably didn't change the minds of fans who loathed the Big Dog for his seemingly superhuman strength and push. Reigns was supposed to reveal his opponent for SummerSlam until the incident, but with SmackDown Live running out of time this week, it seems fans won't get an answer until next week's show, less than a week before the pay-per-view. Speaking to Complex this week, Reigns admitted he's been bitten by the acting bug after appearing in the most recent Fast and Furious film Hobbs & Shaw, but told readers he wasn't leaving wrestling, saying, "I'll say I've been bitten by the acting bug, but I think with what just happened to me this past year with my health and being pulled away from the ring, I'm always going to have that love, that process that I just explained about being live and as raw as possible." It's clear that Reigns' first love is wrestling, but that doesn't mean that acting isn't still an option for him down the line, though he should try and be more careful next time he's on set. According to his cousin The Rock, Reigns accidentally knocked out a cameraman while filming an important scene of Hobbs & Shaw, and it seems the former Universal Champion is yet to live it down. Back to WWE news now, and for any fans who don't enjoy the company's wildcard rule, they should know that they're not alone. The rule, which was implemented after WrestleMania 35, allows a certain number of Raw superstars to appear on SmackDown Live and vice versa, but it's been received poorly by fans and those backstage. Brad Shepard this week reported that one source in the company called the rule bullshit, and apparently this is the opinion of many backstage. Tom Collahue has also reported that the WWE will be moving away from the wildcard rule after SummerSlam, saying, "They're quietly wrapping up the wildcard rule. No big announcement or anything, there's a lot of people who want it to end. companies, sponsors, management, and talent. You don't get another Lynch and Rousey moment without that Survivor Series format. The Lynch and Rousey moment is seemingly referencing the man's invasion of the Red brand shortly before Survivor Series. And it's true that such a huge moment wouldn't have been so shocking if the Irish superstar had been allowed on the Red brand at any time. Another issue the wildcard rule has had is the disappearance of the mid-card, as with more of the same high-profile superstars being used on both Raw and SmackDown Live, smaller, talented stars have spent the past few months being overlooked. When the rule was announced, it was rumored that it was put into place to allow all the big stars to appear on SmackDown when the Blue brand moves to Fox later this year, so only time will tell what the future holds for the wildcard rule. Moving to Monday Night Raw, and the numbers are in for this week's show, though things aren't too good. After last week's epic Raw reunion, nobody expected this week's edition to see an increase, and the Red brand did 2.32 million views, the lowest number of the Paul Heyman regime so far. A drop of 25% from last week's huge event, this was also a drop of 5% from the Raw 2 weeks prior. Things started shaky for the company's flagship show, as Hour 1 brought in just 2.41 million viewers, though it only lost 7.2% of them by the end of the event. In the second hour, that 2.41 million had dropped to 2.32 million in Hour 2, and that number eventually settled to 2.23 million by Hour 3. Breaking that down, the third hour actually beat the first when appealing to the 18 to 49 demographic, thanks in part to the women tuning in, as the show saw a 7.8% increase in females aged 18 to 49 from Hour 1 to Hour 3, while men of the same age stayed even. Teenage girls was also up an impressive 9.4% from Hour 1 to Hour 3, while teenage boys dropped 13.5% during the show. Ranking 6th for the night on cable, this week's edition of Monday Night Raw was down 20% from the same show from this time last year, though to be fair, the 2018 edition of Raw had both the return of Brock Lesnar and Ronda Rousey to help boost the viewers. We're ending with some Hulk Hogan news now, and though he and Stone Cold Steve Austin never got the chance to face off in the ring, the pair did sit down for a historic, once-in-a-lifetime interview this week. A huge event spanning 2 hours, Hogan was an open book about his career, explaining his various injuries that mean the Hulkster can never wrestle again. Nothing was off the table for the two former WWE champions, as Hogan even addressed his partnership with Macho Man Randy Savage, going into detail about the real-life beef between the two. Though they were friends on screen, Hogan and the Macho Man didn't exactly see eye to eye backstage, as Savage was often angered by Hogan stealing the spotlight, even jumping in the ring to celebrate when Savage won his first WWF title at WrestleMania 4. This wouldn't be an isolated incident though, as Hogan would also find a way to make every world title win Savage had about him in both WWE and WCW. Savage was also incredibly territorial over his real-life wife, Miss Elizabeth, and often thought the Hulkster was trying to woo her. In the interview, Hogan gave an example of Savage's behavior, saying, "Elizabeth, Savage's wife at the time, was my manager, and we went to the ring in Paris. There were no steps. Elizabeth was probably 95 or 100 pounds soaking wet, so I reached over the top rope, reached all the way over where she's standing next to me, and grabbed her by the armpits, picked her all the way up, she had a dress on, and put her in the ring. Randy said, 'You son of a bitch, you grabbed her boobs.' We walk up and he grabs a headlock on me, but he puts that side headlock on me." Fortunately, a real-life fight between the two didn't break out, though Hogan did admit that the match between the two was horrible, thanks in part to the two not getting along. This animosity would continue years later, as even after the pair went their separate ways, there was still beef between the two, as Macho Man would have an entire track on his 2003 album Be a Man dedicated to insulting Hogan. For as good as he was in the ring, Savage was almost also as famous for how protective he was over his wife, and Viceland even dedicated an entire episode of Dark Side of the Ring to their relationship. According to Hogan, the pair were able to squash their beef shortly before Savage's death in 2011, though this whole thing goes to show that sometimes the craziest stories in pro wrestling aren't the ones we see in the ring. Well guys, that's our news for today. Let us know your thoughts down in the comments below. If you like this video, don't forget to check out our previous video, 10 huge, shocking WWE 2019 rumors you need to know about. Also check out our other high-rated videos by clicking at the upper right-hand corner or down in the description field. Don't forget to hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, and the bell icon so you don't miss a single new video. You can follow us on Facebook and Twitter, and as always, thank you for watching.